Hello, crazy souls. I'm Kay Cortez and I am autistic. When I first suspected this fact, I immediately wanted to be tested, assessed. After lots of research and a couple of phone calls, I came across my first obstacle. Cost. The cheapest assessment I was able to find would cost me $2,000. At this point, I still wanted to be assessed. I just accepted the fact that I was gonna have to wait until I had the money. As I researched and studied and immersed myself more and more into the autistic community, the less I doubted my place on the spectrum. I eventually reached a point where I became 100% sure that I am autistic. Zero doubt about it. Still, I had the desire for an official diagnosis, mainly for other people, to be honest, so that other people would believe what I already knew, so that other people would have no doubts. But all that effort is kind of a waste. It's kind of useless. For that purpose, I mean. While being a part of some autistic groups online, I've learned from others that even with an official diagnosis, people still doubt you. Even with an official diagnosis, people still misunderstand you. And that's if you get the diagnosis that you know you should get. Being diagnosed with a mental disorder is not the same as getting diagnosed with other things. There is no blood test, no x-ray, no MRI, no colonoscopy. You sit down with a fallible human being who probably doesn't even specialize in the disorder you suspect of having, and you answer questions. It is then at the discretion of this human being or team of human beings to tell you whether they think you are something or not. It's not an objective opinion, it's completely subjective. You can pay $2,000 to answer generic questions and it can come down to an answer or two for this professional to decide one way or the other. I do believe most mental health professionals are not malicious in their assessments, but they all do have a certain degree of biases, and many of them have very outdated views on autism and other mental disorders. And just to make it clear, when I put professionals in quotations, I'm not trying to denigrate all mental health practitioners. When I say professionals in quotations, I do mean the bad ones. And again, when I say bad, I don't mean malicious. There are good mental health practitioners that just aren't properly qualified to diagnose you, yet they still do. There are definitely very good ones out there who are more than qualified, who specialize in the help you need specifically. But from my own experience and the experience of pretty much everyone I've talked to or read about being assessed, getting one of those good ones, it's like winning the lottery. I wanted to be assessed as a kid just because I knew there was something different about me. And by the way, I do live in Canada, so if I had been assessed as a kid, it would have been free for me. But our family doctor wouldn't refer me to a mental health doctor because I was doing well academically in school and because I was able to talk to people. Not even form deep relationships, just I was able to speak to people. I tried to be assessed again in my early 20s. Still at this time, it wasn't about autism. I didn't really even consider autism until I was like 28, I think. I just always knew my mind worked differently than that of others. So in my early 20s, I was actually able to see a psychologist. She concluded I was normal and that there was nothing wrong with me. She said that if anything, I might have avoidant personality disorder. That kind of made a little sense at the time, but it just didn't resonate enough with me, and it just felt like she made an educated guess to shut me up. So I just kind of kept on living my life. Nothing changed. Now looking back at it, avoidant personality disorder, it just doesn't make sense at all for me. Maybe on a surface level, but it's just, I don't know, I'm just so obviously autistic. How can a mental health practitioner not see it immediately? How can they be so wrong? But wrong they are, and very often. Sadly, unfortunately, very often. My sister has seen multiple professionals and she has gotten 3 very different diagnoses, none of which fit her just right. Anecdotally, I know of many autistic people who got very different diagnoses before they finally got the autism one. And those are some of the lucky ones. There are autistic people who are diagnosed as not autistic for very idiotic reasons. What are some of those reasons which have been stated to deny the official diagnosis? I know of at least one who has been denied for having a sense of humor. What? There are autistic comedians out there. I'm like the funniest person I know. Some are denied because they are able to hold eye contact. Some because they have been able to hold a job. Because they have friends or a partner. Because they seem empathetic. I could go on, but it's all trivial and stupid. And when it all comes down to a subjective opinion based on generic questions made up for a very specific type of autistic person, how accurate can someone grade you on a freaking spectrum? Autism Spectrum. It's called a spectrum for a reason. It's a spectrum because we're all very different. Despite all our similarities, and there are many, the combination of traits is different for all of us. Not to mention that we all have different proficiencies in masking, which just basically means we all have a different level of how well we can pretend to be normal. So why would I want to put myself through that hell? Why would I risk having some professional put doubts in my mind when I have none? Many autistics already suffer from imposter syndrome about their autism. I struggled a lot with it at the beginning. Why would I potentially force myself back into that struggle? Not because I have any doubt of who I am, but because I have a lifetime experience of being misunderstood, of being perceived as differently than who I am. I have no fear or worry about who I am. I know who I am. But I have no reason to be confident that a mental health doctor will draw an accurate conclusion of who I am. Even if I did luck out and I were to get a good assessment and the results were fair and accurate, what would I even gain? I would just have an expensive piece of paper telling me something I already know. Why would I pay $2,000 so that others will believe what I already know? Especially when it's not even guaranteed that they will believe it then. I just don't need anybody telling me what I already know about myself. I have no desire to put myself through a frustrating process for no gain. A loss of money, time, energy, and the risk of losing this confidence in who I am. It took so long to get here. Pursuing an official diagnosis feels like going backwards for me. I do feel bad and sad about the people who genuinely need a diagnosis for governmental support, or just for peace of mind, or for any other reason. Here I am just speaking about me and what is right for me. I know that everyone has different needs and desires. I really do hope that things change. I hope that the mental health system improves faster than it has. I wish you the best if you have to go through that process, and I wish that you do get a fair and successful assessment. But personally, I don't need a piece of paper from someone who can't go inside my mind to tell me how my mind works, to tell me who I am, to feel seen or validated. I am who I am. I see me. I validate myself. I am autistic.